Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are gonna discuss intake manifold problems regarding the starting procedure and running of this BMW K75. I think the criteria it will also apply to K100 bikes since they are almost identical but with one cylinder more or less. So after restoring the bike, I've done plenty of videos. There was one thing that I should discuss in another video, which was the spring plate of the starter, but that thing is sorted out. I did a video on how to open the bike from the rear wheel to the O-ring in the output shaft, but it is not the point of this video. The thing is that when I did the restoration, I did things regarding the transmission seals and oils and so on, oil seals and so on. But I also refurbished all of these rubber boots in the intake, including the lower ones that are sticked or mounted into the cylinder head. I also refurbished my fuel injectors. I bought a O-ring kit for the injectors, and I changed the tiny filter that is inside each of them, and obviously new air filter and the rubber hose here, which is the breather from the engine crankcase to the intake. I did that a few months ago, even a few years ago, I don't remember. I did a video on that piece, but I was having issues starting the engine. So in this video I will talk about some things you can consider before, I don't know, in my experience, I mean some things that I have done to make this bike run good again. So after changing all of the things that I mentioned, I started and the engine didn't want to start. So I was like, okay, what can we do now? First thing first, I checked whether I had sparks, and obviously spark plugs were new, and I checked every three of them with the basic spark plug check, with putting a spark here and see if it works. Obviously don't do it next to fuel or whatever, but the three spark plugs were generating enough spark. It was even blue, like really healthy spark, so that was out of the equation. So to be honest, I didn't even consider reading the internal resistance of the coils, so I moved on. So the next thing that I checked was the injectors, and they were all okay. I pulled these 10mm bolts out, and then you can lift the three of them at the same time with the rail, with this injector rail. I don't like calling it common rail because I think that is for diesel engines, but whatever, you get me. And I put the injectors in a cardboard similar to this one, and they were all spitting the same amount more or less, and it was a healthy amount. So I think there was no good reason to open them again because I thought they were okay. One thing that I noticed, it was that here you see the intake boots, from the air intake boots that are mounted into the cylinder head. I changed that, and I saw that when I sprayed a little bit, I saw that there was some air sucking it inside. So I decided to open this again and put some sealing material there. As you can see, it's not the prettiest thing you can do, but I wanted to discard any vacuum. So there was no vacuum there because I sorted it out with some sealing material, but the bike wasn't still running good. And I decided to move on here and check the airflow meter, which as you can see, well, you cannot see it here, but let me put you the piece here. So this is the mass airflow measurement that the bike has. So I noticed that if I remove this, and you can see this is like a flap that moves, according to the air you have running into your engine. But I noticed while this was plugged into the boot, into the intake, I noticed that if I moved this, the engine would start and then run a little bit, and when I let it like this on idle, the engine would stop. So that gave me a hint and made me disconnect the air filter, the air measurement system, and I decided to check. There is a good guide online, and I checked the resistance between this pin number 5 and pin number 7 with an ohm meter, and you have to measure it while you move with your finger the flap. You have to push your finger here like this, or you can use one of these. So the resistance should be like really linear, you know? So the more you push, the more resistance you get. But it is not the case, it was not the case for this piece. So the thing was, it was really erratic, so it was growing, and then it did like this, and then a little bit more resistance, and then it dropped a little bit more. I mean, it wasn't reading okay. So I even tried the bike without with this thing, and it even ran better, but the smoke it was generating was definitely not okay. But I decided to buy a replacement part for this one, like a second-hand part, because they don't make this anymore. And I decided to plug it here, and then the bike suddenly started with no problem. And I was like, okay, problem sorted. Well, not there, because there was one thing that I also screwed up while I was restoring the engine, or the bike. So what was the main part that was affecting, apart from this defective part? It was that there is a rubber hose. Let me take the light. There was this rubber hose from the return line from the fuel. You can see it there, that one. And I didn't route it correctly, and it was pushing the airbox here. It was pushing the airbox outwards, so the contact between this rubber boot and the plenum chamber was not okay, and some air was leaking inside. So yeah, there are some ideas. There are my ideas that I checked, and then the bike runs beautifully. I will put the 3 videos as an example, running without this connected, and also running with a vacuum leak, and then running like full okay. So yeah, those are my 2 cents, the things that you can check. But also be sure that this rubber is okay, and the rubber are there are no leaks, no vacuum leaks, because that will screw your fuel mixture and so on. You can see the filter is new, and yeah, please, if you have, just don't touch that. I think it's not necessary to touch the bypass screw, but just do a measurement, because it doesn't take much time. And while you move the flap here, just remember to pin 5 and 7 and check the resistance and observe and take a look to see how that works. And if it works nicely, then this should be okay. But interestingly enough, this was not okay. I don't know why, but I opened it, and there were some, oh sorry, you can see here that the track is not okay. It looks really bad. And yeah, apart from that, there was some vacuum leak inside. So yeah, thanks for watching. I hope this helps you out, and have a nice day.